What is up, everyone, and welcome to the season finale of My Team Career Mode Season 3. We're here at the Brazilian Grand Prix, and it's going to have to be a banger. We're currently 11 points clear of Alpine in the Constructors Championship. After a very fortunate result, we got P2 in Portugal, so if you haven't seen that race, I definitely recommend going back and watching it. There's a big twist, but not as big as this twist. Lewis Hamilton is retiring from Formula 1. He has announced this on the final weekend of the season. So that is going to trigger some driver moves, no doubt. I doubt they're going to promote a new driver straight up into that Mercedes seat. I'm sure there'll be a few shuffles around. I don't know who'll get it. It honestly could be Alonso if he's not retiring, or someone like that. They're no stranger to making those kinds of moves in this game. So yeah, 7-time world champion bowing out. He made a few efforts to try and get that 8th, but to no avail, unfortunately. Yeah, what a shock twist to start the video off. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna get into the Brazilian Grand Prix now. We have to get a good result here. We can't drop more than 11 points to Alpine over the course of the race weekend, and I mean, well, it's a sprint weekend. So there's even more points on offer, so it's going to be even more of a difficult task to outperform those Alpines and keep them at bay for the remainder of the season. This last race, yeah, like I said, 11 points ahead of them at the moment. But the change is that we only have one car that's consistently finishing in the points, whereas they have both cars which are consistently finishing sort of top 8 every single race. So I'm going to probably need, like, I don't know, either a podium or at least a top 5 in this Grand Prix. Fortunately, we've been on a pretty hot streak recently, excluding Mexico. You know, we had P2 in Portugal, we had P6 in Brazil, we had another podium at some point not that long ago as well. And yeah, our practice pace, okay, not too bad. We passed the qualifying program, which is always an encouraging sign because they always make the qualifying programs really hard in this thing. So if you pass it, that's usually a benchmark that you've got pretty good pace. So yeah, I'm slightly optimistic about what we're going to be able to do here, but it will be raining in qualifying, which is probably going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works. I don't know when it will be raining during qualifying, whether it's going to be throughout the whole session or what. But I guess we'll have to wait and find out about that. We're guaranteed P3 in the Drivers' Championship. I don't think I talked about that yet, but we're about 40 points clear of Verstappen. So even if he were to get the win and win the sprint and get fastest lap and everything, he still wouldn't be able to overtake us for 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. So yeah, the one-time only world champion in this canon is really struggling to try and get that 2nd, despite the fact that he is probably one of the most talented drivers on the grid that we have at the moment. As we get into qualifying, we're on a fresh set of softs, and we do a 107.7. It's good enough for P3 at the time. We're actually ahead of Verstappen at this point, and yeah, I think it's going to start raining soon, so that probably will be our only lap in this qualifying session. And indeed, it is in the end good enough for P11, so we're quite fortunate to get through. Really, we actually set the same time as Ricciardo, but yeah, the kicker here is that Fittipaldi is out in P18, and yeah, that is pretty disappointing, given that this is going to be his last Q1 in Formula 1, at least for you know, maybe a season or so, because we've already announced that we're not renewing his contract. We just don't have the money to afford to pay someone who, you know, isn't even getting out of Q1 in the 6th best car on the grid. That should be a nailed-on result every single time, the way I see it. The rain was starting to come down significantly as we set a time in Q2. Again, this is going to probably be our only lap because the track will get wetter from here on out, so it's not going to be possible to improve on what we did on the previous lap. A 109.8 in the end was good enough for us to go P1. Which was quite a shock, to be honest, but you know, things will change from here as well. No one that I'm really shocked by being out. Ricciardo came 11th, which is to be expected, and yeah, we make it through to Q3, where the rain has begun to come down even more than it was in Q2. The track is damp, which means we're now on a set of intermediate tyres rather than the softs that we set our Q2 time on. But the track is still getting wetter at this point, so I think once again this is going to be our only run of the session that's going to matter. We set a 1:12.7, it's good enough for P6 when we set it, but I think there's still drivers who are yet to cross the line. And all in all, I guess this just wasn't a particularly good lap. I'd like to say, oh yeah, this lap was good enough for something, but in the end it's only P10, and that is a poor showing in the last qualifying of the season. So we're going to need to show some significantly improved pace in the race and the sprint if we want to outperform those Alpines who are in P7 and P8 to start the sprint in the next event over the course of this weekend. Yeah, obviously we haven't finished practice yet, but I've not been showing any of the sort of like practice outcome or anything like that, mostly because it doesn't matter too much. We're in a position now where it's like we're not getting any development boost or anything like that because there's no upgrades we can get on the car at this moment in time. So yeah, I'm just sort of chilling and waiting for the facility upgrades to come in before I start showing that screen again. But honestly, I might not, because we've got so few upgrades left to put on the car. It's probably not even relevant at this stage. So yeah, we move forward. We have over 10,000 resource points in the bank, so we will probably be able to max out chassis basically as soon as we unlock the ability to do that. And then yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get the engine upgrades early on in the season. And now it's time for us to get into the sprint.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint.
This is the bit where Crofty doesn't say anything, and so I have to fill for time until he starts reading down the grid listing. Yeah, ideally I want to get at least into the points in this, if not sort of like top 6 or something like that. It's going to be difficult, but I think we can probably manage it, especially if there's maybe a retirement or two. It's really depending on what happens around us, I think.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Sergio Perez, and Russell. Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Hamilton, and Robinson. Ricciardo, Joe, Pierre Gasly, and Lundgaard. Tsunoda, Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher, Enzo Fittipaldi, Stroll, Magnussen, Albon, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Okay, this is the final race of the season. Just get out there and enjoy it.
Right then, so yeah, it's going to be mediums to the end. I don't think softs are going to make it 12 laps, unfortunately. Although you'll find out later why this actually is proven to be false. But anyway, we won't talk about that right now. We're just going to pull away from the line, try and get some heat into these medium tyres and see if we can contend with the cars around us. Maybe get a good start and get ahead of Hamilton off the line. Of course, he's our championship rival as well, and if we beat him here, there is a real strong possibility we can actually win this rivalry, which will gain us some acclaim as well. I'm struggling to get my acclaim up at the moment because I keep losing these rivalries, and that is causing us to struggle to gain team acclaim as a result of that as well. We actually get a very good parking here, and that is going to set us in good stead for the start of the race as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and here we go. We get a very good start compared to Hamilton, and we're already pulling ahead of him, but in the second phase he is going to fight us back a little bit, and indeed actually Ricciardo is challenging us slightly as well, so yeah, we struggle a little bit against these guys to get off the line. I think Hamilton's going to try to go around the outside of us here and out-drag us on the run down to turn 4. He's just a bit too fast in that Mercedes for us at the moment, as Zhou Guanyu has actually got ahead of Ricciardo off the start as well, and he's going to be challenging up the inside of us as we go through turn 4, and yeah, he actually makes that position up, so we've fallen outside of the points to a Haas, and Ricciardo is now challenging us into this fast right-hander as well. We turn defense into attack as we go around the outside of Zhou Guanyu, who was sliding there, and he's actually spun the car around amazingly. I could see that now. I couldn't see that when I actually did it. I was like, what the hell happened? But I could see he was losing the losing the back end as we were running through that corner, and that's triggered a full safety car. It was initially a VSC, but it's upgraded to a full safety car now, and yeah, that means in this sprint we're only going to have maybe 9 or 10 laps of normal running rather than the expected 12, as we're kind of pressuring Hamilton a little bit as we wait for the restart. He gets the jump on us because he's controlled by a robot, and yeah, we're now going to try and challenge around the outside, but we have to take evasive maneuvers onto the grass so as to not go back into the back of Alonso, and Hamilton dives up the inside and makes up not only the place on me, but also a place on Ocon and Norris and Alonso as well. So he managed to make up 4 places there as we move slightly further forward, and yeah, Russell is retiring from the Grand Prix, so the smoke coming out of the back of his car. I try and get ahead of Ocon, but yeah, they don't let me take it because of the yellow flags. It's illegal to overtake under yellow flags, and so yeah, we have to give the position back. There's another yellow flag up here. I don't know what this is for, as Ricciardo dives up our inside. He's probably going to have to give that position back if I had to guess. And Perez is retired as well. We go back past Ricciardo, and apparently what he did wasn't illegal, and what I did was illegal. Make it make sense at Codemasters F1. Anyway, we move slightly further forward now, and we're currently in P9. We're challenging, hassling Ricciardo for this final position. Fittipaldi's actually made his way all the way up from 18th to 11th, so he's had a very, very strong start to this sprint, even if there have been a few people who've had issues in front. We get ahead of Ricciardo for now, but I'm sure he's probably going to pressure us back as we come into this DRS zone. I'm running out of battery. I need to be careful because there's only a few laps left, and I don't want to have an embarrassing moment at the end of the race where I accidentally get overtaken due to my own greed or something like that. And yeah, Ricciardo is going to dive up the inside here. We're going to try and go around the outside, but we don't have the tyre life left in the car at this point, and we need to be careful of Gasly behind because we don't want to concede the position to him by accident. We move slightly further forward now. We briefly got ahead of Ricciardo, but he challenges us straight back into turn 4. We're going to do the old bait and switch, go up the inside. He dives a little bit deep. I baited him into defending the inside, and that allowed me to pull off that kind of move on him, which I was very, very happy about. And yeah, it's a pretty good outcome, all things considered, for us. We actually exceed the track there slightly, but you know, because we're a lot faster with our upgraded aero package through the sort of twisty second sector. That's where we really shine in this track, and it means that we've been able to drop Ricciardo by almost a second already. I think as we get to the DRS detection point, we might even be over a second ahead of him. So yeah, that's going to mean that he's not going to have DRS on this final lap to chase us down with, and as a result, we are able to hold on to this P8. We get 1 point in the sprint for this, so it's okay. Alpine pick up 2 points and 4 points for a total of 6, so they recoup 5 points on us to move the gap to 7 points. I think the gap was actually 12 earlier when I said it was 11. And yeah, that's not quite the performance I was hoping for. I was hoping I'd be able to challenge the Alpines a bit more, but I mean, it's okay. We just have to make sure we're not being outscored by Alpine by 7 points, and we can keep track of this during the race.
Championship leader, that lead has taken a bit of a knock today. It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. It was also a strong Grand Prix from Haas F1 this weekend. Fantastic work from the American team to move themselves further up the table. Well, that wraps up the sprint. All that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
I like this joke of Lando Norris losing ground at the lead of the championship, like he didn't wrap it up back in October. So yeah, I'm not really sure what the focus of that was, but yeah, we're 7 points ahead of Alpine at the moment, and I mean that is dangerous territory, because if they have a strong race and I have a weak race, which could very easily happen, we could be looking at some serious problems for us. We could be relegated to P6 once again in this championship, but I guess we'll have to find out what kind of pace the race bears, and if anyone's given any penalties, anything like that. And remember that they rely on both Alonso and Ocon, so that's at least something, I guess. And now it's time to get into the race.
Returns to Interlagos once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his third championship here in 2012, and just 4 years later, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Norris, Esteban Ocon, and Fernando Alonso. Robinson, Ricciardo, Gasly, and Robert Schwartzman. Lundgaard, Mick Schumacher, Enzo Fittipaldi, and Hamilton. Latifi, Stroll, Alex Albon, and Kevin Magnussen. Tsunoda, they've taken a grid penalty. Joe, Perez, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Well, we've been promoted one place up the order because Lewis Hamilton has taken a penalty, which is perhaps somewhat surprising. And another thing that's surprising is that a lot of cars around us are starting on softs. So I'm actually going to take the effort here to try and create a strategy here which works. A soft medium stint if I can. We'll see how far the mediums can go. They're thinking maybe 11 and 25 or 12 and 24, something like that. It says that the projected race time will be slightly longer if I do this versus if I were to do medium hard. But the reason I'd want to do this is just for the simple fact that I could quite easily contend with the cars around us if we're also on soft tyres, where it's going to be a lot harder if I'm on mediums. At this point, I was just deciding whether I should pit on lap 11 or 12, really. I was still having a look at a few other things. They even recommended here doing a 2-stop if I was going to go onto the soft medium, which I fundamentally disagree with. But I guess they were concerned about tyre wear. I guess we'll see if that ends up being an issue or not. They think that I'll be at 75% wear by the time we get to the pit window at this point. I don't think it'll be that dramatic, personally. I'm better at saving tyres than they think I am. So, yeah, we're going to try the 12 and 24. We'll see if that works. And, yeah, I guess we'll see when these guys are pitting as well to get an idea of whether I've created my own correct strategy or not. As we now embark on the formation lap for the final time this season, and here we are now forming up on the grid. We're going to try and get a good lineup, and we actually, I tried to say actually and accidentally simultaneously there. We overshoot it is what I was basically trying to say there, and that resets us back down the grid order quite significantly as the lights come on. And for the final time this season, the lights go out and we switch to the replay camera, and we have got a decent start compared to the cars around us. We're being challenged by Ricciardo already, but we're going to switch up to the inside here and see if we can race him. And yeah, we end up taking to the inside of the Senna S's to try and get back at him through there. He will have the superior straight line speed, but I think we're going to try and go up the inside here. Indeed, we do, exactly as anticipated, and now he can be under pressure from that Alfa Romeo behind him. I think that's Schwartzman, but I'm not 100% sure. And so far, we've not done amazingly. We've only held on to P7, so yeah, hopefully we can hopefully we can continue moving forward through this Grand Prix as time goes on. I think Alonso has already made up one position on Verstappen, so he is up into P4 as we dive up the inside of Ocon there, and Ricciardo tries to go for a similarly opportunistic move, and yeah, we're now up into P6, and the next car ahead of us is Verstappen if we can catch him. Lap 3 now, and with the DRS we're burning some battery as well. We're going to try and go up the inside here. This is a strange onboard, but yeah, we managed to get ahead of him for now. He might challenge us back into the S's. You can see I'm going all over the curbs here, off the track and everything. Pick up all those warnings nice and early, but I mean, if we're ahead of Verstappen, that's all that matters, right? But we're not ahead of Verstappen for too many laps, because on lap 7 my tyres are starting to go off, and you see that he on the mediums has found some new pace in this race to start fighting back at us, and now he's probably going to go and set after Fernando Alonso up the road from us to try and get back into that P4 where he started. Lap 11 now, and we're only one lap out from the pit window. But I'll tell you who's not one lap out from the pit window. Fernando Alonso. He's coming into the pits on lap 11, and that could be a crucial move in this Grand Prix. Which at this point I was kind of labouring under the impression that things were probably not looking particularly good for us right now. If we take Alonso P4, Ocon P7, that's what, 18 points they're scoring, and I'd only have been scoring 8 in P6, which is where I was at the time. So yeah, they'd be outscoring us by 10 points, and they only need to outscore us by 8 points to close out this championship in their favour. Lap 12, we come into the pits. We're going to be setting the medium tyres to the end, and yeah, we're going to have to hope we can find a lot more pace on these if we want this P6 finish in the championship. I was feeling very, very hopeless at this point, because I was thinking, surely there's almost no way that we're going to be able to catch up to Alonso when he's already sort of 3-4 seconds up the road, and that's sort of the minimum that we need to do. If we catch him, and let's say, I think Verstappen ended up actually overtaking him at the end there, but if we catch him and push him down into P6 and Ocon is P7, that is them scoring what, 14 points, and me and P5 will be scoring 10, so that would actually be good enough. But it requires Verstappen overtaking. If they score, I think, 10 and 6, that'd be 16. And if I score 12 in 4th... No, that would also be good enough, wouldn't it? So I guess Verstappen's kind of irrelevant. I just need to get ahead of Alonso, basically, is what this is about. I have no directive here apart from overtaking Fernando Alonso. That is literally all I care about right now. And he needs to get ahead of Lundgaard, and quickly, otherwise I'm going to start catching up to him. You can see there that the gap just came down by like a second as they moved through the S's, and my former teammate Christian Lundgaard is hitting Alonso where it hurts, and hitting Alpine where it hurts, by holding him up so much. Look at that! I'm literally right behind him all of a sudden. I've made up 2 seconds over the course of the first 20 seconds of this lap. Christian Lundgaard is the MVP, and if I had enough money, I would be trying to sign him back for Jaguar Racing right now, as he in his newfound home of Alfa Romeo has done me a massive favour here. It means that we're right over the back of Alonso in the section of the track where we're faster. We're going to go up the inside at a very unconventional spot and take P7 on the road at the moment, but once Gasly and Schwartzman have pitted, that will be P5, and we'll see where we are in relation to Max Verstappen. It doesn't matter too much, but as we move on to lap 17, we're up into P6, Schwartzman's pitted, I think Gasly still is yet to pit, and yeah, we've dropped Alonso by about 3 seconds already in only a few laps, so I think we could be in a really good spot to hold on to this. We need to get home cleanly, we need to try and do everything we can to hold on to the position we've got, but I mean, this is looking very, very good for us right now. We make the move on Gasly, who's on very old medium tyres at this point, and yeah, as we come round to the end of lap 18, you can see that Max Verstappen is into the pits and setting a set of hard compound tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. He probably will be coming back at us towards the end of the race, but I think at the moment, because these tyres are still fairly new, we should be looking at having maybe slightly better pace than him. We come out just behind him, and we're going to try and dive up the inside here, see if we can hold on to this position to get P4 on the road at the moment. The cars in the top 3 right now are Leclerc, Sainz and Norris. They're a bit too far ahead to worry about. I think Verstappen's going to have a look up the inside at turn 4 here. He does have a bit of a look. He's actually keeping it fairly competitive right now, and yeah, he's actually managed to make the move work. So that pushes us back down into P5. I need to keep it clean with Verstappen. I don't want to accidentally make contact with him and force myself into some kind of damage or something like that, which could cost us $2 million. You know, you thought Mick Schumacher's crashes were expensive. This crash would be the most expensive crash in Formula 1 history if it cost us a World Championship position. So yeah, we're going to have to try and negotiate Schumacher's teammate Zhou Guanyu and see if we can get back ahead of Verstappen. But if we can't, it's not the end of the world. We're scoring as many points as we need to be for the sake of the championship. At the moment, Alpine are only scoring 14 to our 10. And yeah, that means that we'll be looking at a P5 finish in the constructors if things stay as they are. We make a bit of contact there with Verstappen as we go up the inside. It was a very unnecessary move, but I went for it anyway. I didn't want him getting away. We didn't get any damage from it either. I don't think he did. So all is fair in love and war at the moment as we move on to lap 26, and I think Verstappen is going to have another look up the inside here as we come into the first braking zone of turn 1. He does have a brief look up the inside, but we managed to hold him off around the outside. We go off the track again, but somehow don't get a warning for that on this occasion. And I mean, now he is going to close us down as we move into turn 4. I'm going to have to give him the outside line on this occasion, go up the inside. We're going to try and brake later than him. We have the medium compound tyres. They have a bit more grip than his tyres have, and this means that we are just able to stay ahead of him for now. But he's going to try and challenge us back around the outside of this fast right-hander. Once again, he doesn't have the tyre grip. And yeah, we're just battling through every corner right now. This is a really stressful time, and the more we battle, the more likely it is that Fernando Alonso is going to close up to the back of us. I say that, we now move on to lap 32, and you see he's over 10 seconds behind. So I think we've got this P5 in the championship in the bag, but I want to get P4 in this race to really mark out my credentials as being able to race with the Red Bulls and you know, holding my own in a Formula 1 race. As we were at the start of the season when we had a much faster car. We will be getting a lot of money from this, and that could be the difference between getting those engine upgrades and those chassis upgrades. I mean, we're guaranteed getting those chassis upgrades, but getting those engine upgrades nice and early. We got challenged by Verstappen again there, but we managed to hold on to the position, and now we come onto the final lap. We exit the center S's here, and you see he's going to have probably another run at us here for the final time to see if he can get ahead. He goes up our inside, and as we get to the braking zone, he's actually a long way ahead, and we try and go around the outside, but we don't have that much grip left in the tyres. We actually made a bit of contact there, which was deemed to be my fault. I think that's fair enough, but we didn't take any damage, so it's okay. I think we're going to be able to challenge him at some point. You know, we're faster through sector 2, so this is going to have to be where we really shine if we want to do anything with this to get back into P4. I really wanted this P4. And from a long way back, I'm going to try and dive up the inside here. He actually moves out of the way to give me room there. It was a bit of a dirty move, but you know, if he was allowing it, then I'm allowing it as well. Charles Leclerc wins the Grand Prix. He won the sprint. He takes home the maximum gambit of points that you can get for the race weekend. I'm not sure if he got fastest lap as well, but it wouldn't surprise me because he's in a very fast car and he's been rapid around here all weekend. We are going to probably finish ahead of Verstappen, but I say that, he's going to have DRS and we're out of battery, so he's closing us up as we come to the line, and in the end the gap was only half a tenth. But we managed to hold on to P4, and yeah, that was a scary end to a good race. We went from P7 to P4. We got ahead of both Alpines. We got ahead of the Red Bull and Max Verstappen, and that is the end.
Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again.
So going into this race, if I'm not mistaken, I believe McLaren were ahead in the Constructors Championship, but Ferrari getting a 1-2 and McLaren finishing 3rd, and Ricciardo I think was down in like 9th or something like that. This could be Ferrari usurping McLaren for the Constructors Championship on the final race of the season. if I'm not mistaken. We'll find out for certain in a second, but I think this will be good enough. Science delivers when it really matters for the team.
But it wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
There's a few contenders, but George Russell definitely stood out, I think. A really solid drive from him today, and one I'm sure the fans enjoyed.
Nothing can challenge the leaders in the Constructors Championship at this point. But, so then, Ferrari have now moved out of sight and out of reach. It's another triumph for the Italian team as they claim the World Constructors Championship. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
So yeah, 2 championship positions decided on the final day of the season. Ferrari outscored McLaren by 9 points in the end, and they outscored them by a lot more than 9 points over the course of this race weekend, which means that it definitely was Ricciardo's poor performance and Norris's inability to get ahead of the Ferraris here that really made the difference. I think if Norris had won that race and Ferrari had finished 2-3 instead, that could have been the difference maker there. But you know, we can do what ifs all we want. We have finished P5 in the Constructors Championship this season. We did this season what we couldn't do last season. Despite our best efforts, it just wasn't meant to be. We had a lot more consistency over the course of this season, and that helped a lot. We were able to finish a number of races. We barely ever finished outside the points. I don't think there was a single race that I finished where I was outside the points, if I'm not mistaken. I think my worst finish in any of these Grand Prix was P10. We had 3 DNFs, Australia, Azerbaijan, and Mexico. So, yeah, if not for those, who knows where we might have finished in the championship. We were in a championship fight, I reckon, up until Azerbaijan, and then things started slowly slipping through our fingers. But, you know, like I said, we can play the game of what ifs all we want. All I know is that I'm very happy with the P5 in this Constructors Championship. That means that we're going to get an extra few $1 million we weren't going to get otherwise, and probably be able to make a few more investments that we weren't beforehand. I think Season 4 is finally going to be the season that we break through as a front-running car. We're going to try and do some once we've got the maximum upgrades on our car, or at least all the facilities to get maximum upgrades on our car. We're going to try and invest everything we can into personnel upgrades to improve the ability of whoever our second driver is. I'm confident whoever I sign next season has the potential to be a World Championship contender if we can give them the right facilities. As I said before, it's either going to be... There's a very slim chance that we try and re-sign Fittipaldi. I don't think we're going to have enough money for it, but maybe if we do, he'll probably be the first person I ask. But I doubt I'll go for a low-risk offer this time, because that's going to be a lot of money that we're going to be expending if we do that. So it's probably going to be either re-signing Piastri, who won't be too expensive, or it will be Pourchaire or Drugovich. I imagine will be the 2 drivers I'm looking at, the 2 championship contenders in F2 in real life in 2022. We'll see which of those we go with if we decide to go with one of those. We draw the rivalry with Lewis Hamilton. I actually didn't have a precedent set for this, but I guess we'll just keep the difficulty as it is. If I'm drawing a rivalry, that means I'm probably playing on a difficulty that's appropriate for my level of performance at this stage, I reckon. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to worry about for now. We get the maximum sponsor bonuses, and that is the end of the season. We're up to 4.5 million, so we might be able to re-sign Fittipaldi, but I guess we'll find out. And that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for the support on all the recent videos, and hopefully I will see you in the next season.